This is the Medical Minutes Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Your source for the latest news, updates, information, and more from the world of health and medicine. Now, here's Wish TV's medical reporter, Dr. Mary Gillis.
From Wish TV, I'm medical reporter Dr. Mary Gillis, and this is Medical Minutes on the All Indiana Podcast Network. The monkeypox outbreak is sparking global concern. A total of 2,500 cases have been confirmed to date, 2 of which have been identified in Indiana. However, experts say the virus has been here for some time, hiding under the radar, with many cases going undetected. It's only now that we are taking notice. In this week's episode, I speak with Dr. Beth Kressel, infectious disease specialist at Eskenazi Health, who warns we have to get ahead of the monkeypox spread before the outbreak amplifies, spreads, and turns into an epidemic. Our conversation is next. Dr. Kressel, why has this virus that, was specific to my knowledge, few cases in Africa causing, some health experts are saying, a global outbreak, but is it really considered an outbreak? And how is this being transmitted?
Right. So there is, I think we can call it an outbreak now of monkeypox. I should say the name is going to change soon. There's the term monkeypox conveys a monkey illness and has connotations to Africa. And I think World Health Organization wants to change the name for a number of reasons, since we're now seeing sustained human-to-human transmission. So previously, this was an illness that very rarely spread person to person. That was mostly confined to specific countries in Africa where there's an animal reservoir. Not actually monkeys, probably rodents, but so it was in people who hunted for a living and visitors to those regions. And what has happened is that it has left that area of the world. We don't really know exactly when. Previously, in the past few years, there have been sporadic cases in travelers from that area. And just a few months ago, it was recognized that there were cases in the United Kingdom in people who had not personally traveled. And that led to increased looking for cases, and then a realization that there were actually a large number of cases in a large number of countries. So again, it's kind of pattern recognition. Once one person said, hey, wait a minute, I want to look for monkeypox in this patient, even though they don't have obvious risk factors. Oh, wait, this person does have monkeypox, but they haven't traveled to Africa recently. Oh, let's look for more of this. Once people know that this is out there and start actually looking, we have been finding more and more cases. They've done genetic analysis of the virus itself, and they find that it did originate in West Africa. Most of the cases in the United States are the same virus that they're seeing in Europe. So it all came from one jumping, basically. The virus found its way to a person who was able to spread it to other people. And it's been spreading person to person under the radar for a while now. There's actually a second transmission chain going on in the United States, because they have found a second monkeypox virus that they first isolated in somebody from Texas in 2018. So very, very interesting. Basically, the virus just for it was in the right place at the right time. For us, the wrong place in the wrong time. But it has basically found a new way to spread. I think the other thing going on here that people who live in Africa would tell you is that monkeypox cases have been increasing in Africa for several years now. And again, probably related to the fact that people are no longer getting vaccinated against smallpox. So people, many people have never been vaccinated against smallpox, and people who have been vaccinated against smallpox, it's been decades ago. So immunity is waning. And then there's growing population. People are pushing into forested areas. So there's been an increase in monkeypox cases in Africa. Well, when you have an increase in cases in Africa, there's more possibility of spilling over travelers. And again, it got to a traveler who then spread it person to person. And then there are things called amplification events. So if a virus gets to the right place and multiple people have skin to skin contact, that virus can infect multiple people, and these things can then amplify and then spread more widely. I think the fact there's so many cases in so many countries that are genetically linked, but that the people themselves can't say that they know each other, right? That means that there's been an unrecognized chain of human to human transmission for quite some time that we've missed.
Wow, that's incredible. So, I mean, this is spread skin to skin. So why is it considered a virus? It is disease, a virus? I'm just a little confused what exactly this is.
Right. It's a virus, and probably skin to skin spread is the main way that this transmits. It can spread via the air, but not as easily as COVID does. So there's probably some limited transmission via air, but it's more skin to skin. So in the past, when cases have been recognized outside Africa, there was spread to people living in the same house, but very, very, very limited spread if you weren't living in the same household. So there has to be some close contact.
And Dr. Kressel, from what I understand, we spoke about, or there's two strains that we have. And I'm just a little bit confused here in terms of, this is so fascinating. Is that correct? Am I correct there? We have two strains that are circulating.
It appears there are two. There is one strain that's more prevalent. So there's a strain that's been circulating in Europe. They've done genetic analysis of the European cases, and they do seem to be one strain. And the last data that was released from CDC said that most of the US cases are that same strain. But they did find a few cases that weren't, which again, very interesting.
And how concerned should we be about this? I mean, last I checked, there were 2,500 cases worldwide, but this seems to, it can spread rapidly from what I understand. How severe is it on the continuum?
So the type of monkeypox that this is less severe. As far as I know from this current worldwide occurrence, I don't think anybody has died, and most people have had mild illness and stayed home, did not have to be hospitalized. Some people did need to be hospitalized. If you're out and about going grocery shopping, this is not a concern. This would be a concern if someone living in your house had the virus, or it does seem to be spreading sexually. So it's really interesting, right? We talk about close contact. Well, if somebody has skin lesions and you have sex with someone else, by definition, there's close contact. And the virus seems to have found, this way to spread that it usually doesn't use.
Any idea why the health agencies are saying it's mostly men who have intercourse with men?
So it's not the virus itself. It just happened to slide into that population. So it could have happened many other ways, but right now it's spreading in networks of men who have sex with men. That is not to say that this is targeted to people who have sex with men. That's not the case at all. There have been cases in women as well. But right now, it just happened to be that's where that crossover happened. However, the virus doesn't care. The virus is the ultimate anti-racist, anti-sexist, right? Human beings are all the same to monkeypox virus and most viruses. So we have to be careful. Most of the monkeypox cases right now are in the MSN community. That is not to say that it's not of concern to anybody else, but it does tell you where to target education. So there have been a lot of outreach efforts to the MSM community to try to educate people and make them aware of what's going on so people can protect themselves.
So we need to be aware of what's going on. And by that, what do you mean? Do we look for rashes on our skin? I mean, what do we ask people if they're feeling okay? I mean,
well, So it's the safe sex principles that we've talked about for years, right? Don't have sex if you're sick. Don't have sex if you have lesions. Be honest with your partners. Look for yourself to see if you're sick or if you feel sick or if you have lesions. Try to practice ways of having sex that don't have skin-to-skin contact. Be creative. So it's a lot of the same sex principles that we've been talking about for decades.
And then we have just happened to find this in this population. It's not something, or this group, this cohort, because it just happened to pop up there first. It's not something, like you said, it's really a virus disease that can affect anyone. We just happen to see it there first. And maybe other cases are undetected in other populations, but it's not something that's specific to this group. Okay.
Right. And I would say, if you're a physician out there, or if you think you have some, if you're looking at pictures online and you're thinking, hey, this kind of looks like monkeypox, but I'm not a man who has sex with men, I would still seek medical attention, right? Because again, we really don't know how long this has been spreading under the radar. It didn't just happen a few weeks ago. There are too many people infected to say, oh, this happened a week ago, right? This has been spreading under the radar. The rash looks like other things. So it's been just quietly, stealthily out there because people aren't that sick. It's taken a while to recognize it. So, if we only are worried about men who have sex with men, and we're not looking at the broader picture, we're going to keep missing it. So again, if you're reading the articles and you see the rash and you're reading the description and you're thinking, do I have it? I would go to medical attention and have somebody look at it, because I would not think that it could not be monkeypox just because you're not in that population.
And I mean, what is your reaction to what's going on? I mean, is this, we do have treatments. Not treatments, but we have the smallpox vaccine. Are we overreacting? What do you think? I mean, or do we need to make people aware, but not kind of like sound the alarm on it? So I don't know what your reaction to what's out there in the news.
I don't think we're overreacting. I think actually now is the time to have a vigorous response, because I don't know if this can be absolutely stopped in its tracks or not. But if this is going to be stopped in its tracks and we're going to completely end the human to human transmission chain, now is the time to act. There was a monkeypox outbreak in about 2003 in the United States related to imported African rodents that got into prairie dogs that were in pet shops, and humans got sick. And there was very vigorous action to track down those prairie dogs, track down the people who got sick, and give vaccine and to stop that transmission. And if that was successful, I don't know if we can still do that with this particular outbreak, but now is the time to do it if it's going to happen. So I actually don't think we're overreacting, because although we've been really fortunate, and again, to my knowledge, nobody has died of this. People can die of it if you're immunocompromised or if you're extremely young, or there are vulnerable people for whom monkeypox could be more serious. And this is not something that we want to be established in the United States. It would be nice if we could act vigorously now and really contain it and prevent it from establishing a foothold in the United States.
Oh, you are so right. I mean, yeah, let's stop it in its tracks before it gets keeps moving. And we have the first possible case of monkeypox here in Indiana. What do you want people to know? What would you tell Hoosiers here?
I don't know anything about that case other than what we've learned from the state health department. I honestly am not surprised. I think most people thought it would be here. Again, so many cases in the United States, so many people, people in Illinois have had it, people in neighboring states have had it. So it would have been very odd if we didn't have any cases. Again, that person has been identified, is being treated appropriately, and the health department is doing its work to find out who else might have been exposed so action can be taken. I don't have anything else to say. People travel, right? So, and this has probably been very quietly spreading under the radar for a while now.
And Dr. Kressel, about 30 seconds left. Any last thoughts?
Monkeypox, and again, the name's going to change soon. To me, it's interesting. This is, again, the convergence of waning immunity, a convergence of people being connected by travel, and probably, honestly, people not paying attention to it when it only infected people in Africa. Maybe the lesson here is we had taken more action in Africa earlier and tried to distribute vaccines there earlier. This would not have spilled over to Europe and the United States and Australia. And I think the other thing is that it just shows us that viruses are here, diseases change and evolve, and we have to be prepared. We need robust public health infrastructure. We need robust laboratory infrastructure. And if we can invest in these things, COVID is not the end of it. COVID's under control, but there are more things out there. So we need to continue to invest in the public health and laboratory testing infrastructure and in medical infrastructure to try to be ready for whatever comes next, because I don't think monkeypox will be the last. There will be other things coming. We are a little fortunate that it was a mild form of monkeypox that is spreading this way, and that there are countermeasures already ready. But it just shows us how important it is to always be ready and not assume that nothing new can happen.
Wow, that's such a great message. Thank you so much for your insight, Dr. Kressel. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
This has been Medical Minutes from Wish TV. I'm medical reporter Dr. Mary Gillis. Be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast and check out new updates every week. You can also learn more at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook.
This is the Medical Minutes Podcast with Wish TV's Dr. Mary Gillis. Be informed and stay connected for the latest news and information when you like, subscribe, and follow this podcast and discover even more from the All Indiana Podcast Network. Now at allindianapodcast.com.